the sky. I know that we're gonna have quite a bit of wind. It's gonna be rough, which is good. It gives me a chance to test out this bait in conditions that are less than optimal, to see if the changes that I've made to how I'm rigging this are really helping me out. So here's the evolution. I started with it on this chin locks, which is, you know, the Z-Man chin locks. You got that little bit of weight up front that keeps the soft plastic from pulling back. A little bit of weight there. After I broke the rod throwing that, although I don't blame that, I think that rod is just its time, I switched to just a grip pin weightless EWG. I actually have that one ready to go right there. That one's weightless, but when they're weightless, they can spiral. So what I did is I took a lighter wire version of this, which is the one that I have tied on back there, and I added this weight to it. That's from the Do It Molds SWM jig. So it's a grip pin hook that I've added weight, and that's just a keel. That's all that's doing, is providing a keel for this to stay nose up and moving straight and fast. So I'm in at the lead pot, and I'm pouring more of the style jig head that I think works best with rigging these 7-inch scented jerk shad. The best hookup percentage that I had was with that grip pin hook that was weightless. But what I'm doing, just to avoid having the bait, you know, corkscrew or spiral, I'm adding a keel to it with this. This is the SWM jig. So these are sort of banana shaped weights, and I've taken the Dremel tool. They go right along the shank of the hook there. So it's a extra wide gap hook with a grip pin thing there, and I just want to add weight here to this part of the shank. We're closing that in there, and I did the Dremel work so that I knew that it would close nicely. So we'll go ahead and pour this in here, and I got just enough. So let's take these, adding this weight to it, and I'll go ahead and cut the sprue off, and I'll paint them white. I may paint a couple of them chartreuse. But this shape here really should be something that provides a keel to keep the bait from corkscrewing. You can tell from how I'm dressed, it's changed a little bit from the other day. We've had the 20-25 degree swing. It's actually 48 degrees, and we were close to 90 the other day, 2 days ago. That's just the cycle that you get in fall, where it'll swing from summer to not winter, but you know, the trees are still green. But it's changing. This water is going to be cooling off. So we also have a lot of wind that's coming later. It's here in little spurts now, but it's going to be bad. But I'm curious to see if I can make this bait do what I got it to do the other day, which was to catch, you know, a bunch of them over 18. Pair of 19 plus, and I just got them to move. It's going to be harder to see them actually swipe at it if they swipe at it and miss, which was my indication to just kill it. You know, I'd see that swirl and be like, stop, 1, 2, 3, wham, slam them. The 2 count, maybe 3 count, usually gave them a chance to get it in their mouth if they swirled on it and missed. Jake's right here. I'm gonna go over this with you, man, and I'm gonna give you one of the jig heads that I made yesterday. So that is the chin locks. That one, that lightest weight chin locks, I want you to hold that and look at it. That's what I started with. And that did well when I tied it with a snell knot and then rigged this guy on there. You got some of these?
Yeah.
Okay. But I broke the rod and had to switch to a medium instead of a medium heavy because I was afraid of breaking a second rod. I don't think I'm overloading the rod with the 7-inch with, look at this, but whatever. I switched to just a straight up this rig. This had the better hookup percentage, so this is just a there's no weight on it, and it's just the fine wire. I'll let you look at that. The fine wire grip pin hook, right? And it did well staying on top, but I worry about it spiraling if you don't, if you don't quite keep it moving. I'll just put that aside. So I went home and I got out an old Do It mold. It's the SWM jig hook, and that's an 1/8 ounce weight on there, and I still got the grip pin, and I think that's enough of a keel. I want you to tie that on, right? And then rig that 7-inch scented jerk shad on there. And as we go down here, we're gonna cast to the upstream side. In fact, I got one right here. You see this little disturbance?
Right over here?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I go 8 feet beyond it, keep my rod tip high, and reel. And I'm not, it's just an even reeling. I'm not trying to walk the dog with it. I think that's kind of key to having a good hookup percentage.
Okay.
It's clear water. I think that anglers do far too much to try and draw attention to a bait at the expense of hookup percentage, and twitching it side to side. I don't know, man. I even think in clear water, like the jackhammer's too much for clear water.
I agree.
Spinnerbait, sometimes too much. This, in super clear water, it's a subtle power fishing presentation it's a big meal. So let's give it a go. See if we can continue. I mean, both Marty and I had 92.25 inches on this, and I didn't figure this out until partway through the day.
I'm telling you,
It's weird that works.
I spooked 2 of them coming up in this really shallow water. I threw up past that brush pile back there. I got about a foot on this side of the brush pile, and she whoosh, she toilet bowled it. She didn't get it, but I killed it. Waited about 3 seconds, and the line was moving off. She had it. 18 1/4.
Nice. This so far.
Ooh, that I think is number 5, at least 4 or 5.
So you got 5 of them over 18, I
Yep.
think. As soon as I gave it to him, he started smoking 18s and 19s. Like, he had a really good day. I had a great day. I don't know what his number was. Maybe 95?
Okay.
He had a good day. God, he got off. He's baby. Dear friends. No, you were just one big fish. All right, so I've had 3 hits, and I just missed a big fish. This is not as active as it was the other day. But then again, I don't know that that day started out all that active. It may be that as the day warms up, they get fired up. I'm glad that we don't have the wind yet, because I'm able to see these fish come at it. It's important to keep your rod tip high to keep that bait on the surface. I'm working along a ledge line here that I'm just fishing the top water. I'm in the last little bit of deep water before it drops down in this major ledge system. So I mentioned this in the first video on this technique. I'll reiterate it. It is important that you flip the bail by hand before it touches down. Like, just right, if you think that the bait is 5 feet off the surface, the bail should be flipped, because you're straightening out whatever arc is in the line from the wind or just the cast. You got to straighten that out, and flipping that bail straightens your line out, so that if one of them meets it right at the surface, and they do, especially big fish, they're always looking up. They're always looking to see what's above, because they've learned, you know, to keep an eye to the sky because of predators, for one, but also food sources, you know, bugs. I don't know, they do look up, especially in clear water. So if you have one that meets it at the surface and your bail is still open, and then you reach down and you touch, you know, the reel, and you let it click over with that, you're late. You arrive late if you're not flipping the bail by hand before, you know, really while the bait is still midair, because you want it moving on a straight line as soon as it touches down. Right on this point here, and I was actually doing something a little bit different on this one than I had been, because I haven't been getting many bites, and I thought I would slow it down a little bit, and it actually swims underneath the surface with that keel weighted hook really nicely. Look at that, good hookup. So not a totally full speed retrieve. It's still pretty fast. I mean, this water is still quite warm. All right, chunky monkey there. Got a very good hookup right in the corner, even though that's only like a, I don't know, that's a 2-aught or 3-aught, but there's just not that much plastic near the nose. And I'll let you breathe a minute here. Yeah, that water's still warm, even though this air is started at 49 degrees. You know, these fish are noticing that there's a difference. There's something changing. So I'm changing my presentation speed to go along with it, and that helped for this first 18-incher. All right, let him go back to his rocky point here. What this does, I'm going to show you top down, because that keel weight really helps keep it from corkscrewing. That's the biggest hang up with fishing these baits, is you don't want it to corkscrew, because it'll twist up your line something awful. And because I have it rigged straight, what it's doing is the front of it stays moving straight at a certain speed, but the tail does this behind. It might actually do the whole thing like this a little bit, but what it's not doing is corkscrewing. So, you know, it's a little bit different of how amped up these fish. Oh, I mean, I think the other day, late in the day, they became more amped up, and it was more of a topwater thing. But you know, as the weather cools, you definitely need to adjust your retrieval speed. This water's still warm. I'm really happy to have found this bait now with all of this stuff, this wild celery coming down. You know, spinner baits, crankbaits, topwater baits with treble hooks, everything gets fouled up with that grass. This does not. It's awesome. I'm gonna try and get the motor going at a certain speed that I can show you that bait and what it's doing. I'm actually gonna zoom up here and catch up with Jake. Jake's up there somewhere, but let me see if I can stop hitting rocks and show you what this looks like in the water. Yeah, this is a little bit slower than what I was doing, which actually is encouraging that I can slow down the bait and do that kind of presentation, and it's not corkscrewing. I'm going faster than this, but that particular weight from the SWM jig, the Do It mold on that grip pin hook, I don't know, would the chin locks do the same? I'm not sure. It might. Now you're riding on the wake. But, you know, it's an interesting action. And it's because of that keel weighted hook. That keeps it centered, keeps it from corkscrewing. I'm happy with it.